Good morning, SBOE. Thank you for letting me speak. We are passing around right now. I heard Mike Morath's testimony on Wednesday that he did not remember the conversation with the Llano ISD superintendent. So I transcribed it, and the transcript is being sent around. The most important thing that Mac Edwards said is, I asked him several pointed questions, specifically about sexually relevant books and about sexually explicit books. He assured me that we do not have sexually explicit books in our libraries. He said those books do not exist in our libraries. He named them. I don't know if that book is in our library, to be honest with you. But he said we may have some bad literature with sexual content in them, but we do not have sexually explicit books according to the Texas Administrative Code or the Penal Code, which concerns me. And so I came back here to speak again today. Also, I hope each of you was able to view the summary of the research on the effects of pornography on the brain compiled by Texas Public Policy Foundation, which I emailed to you all on Tuesday evening. I am also aware that the SBOE sends legislative priorities to the legislature in November. And so I'm here to give you a few suggestions. I'd like to suggest that you consider adding a legislative priority to repeal the affirmative defense. So this is in section 43.24 of the Texas Penal Code and is an affirmative defense to educators who provide, display, sell, or share porn with children. In response to Laura Giles' grievances in Lovejoy ISD this week, their attorneys use this affirmative defense as their defense for having porn in their libraries. I suggest that other districts will be using the same defense soon, now that that has been successful for Lovejoy. We need also to modify the Miller test, which is a loophole, and in the TSLAC guidelines it states taken as a whole. Taken as a whole is not a good enough defense to have any amount of pornography in our children's library. So I thank you for your time today. God bless you.
Good morning, board members. My name is Debbie Linebaugh, and I live in New Braunfels. I am here to support and agree with Bonnie Wallace's recommendations. I am reading excerpts from Verity by Colleen Hoover. At this time, I suggest any minors or anyone who does not like to listen to pervasively vulgar language, please leave the room.
Point of order.
Al?
Point of order. Can we object to her testimony?
This book is in our libraries, our public school libraries.
Point of order, Chairman.
Okay. I acknowledge the point of order. Stand by for a second. Stand, please. Okay, members. So, been consulting the parliamentarian and the legal team back here. First off, I do appreciate the testifier giving us advance notice of the content of the testimony. Obviously, it's written and passed out in accordance with our rules. So, a couple of things that are going on. We're not going to restrict anybody's First Amendment rights today. We also do not want to expose anyone who shouldn't be exposed to something or doesn't want to hear something that could be offensive to them. So we'll go ahead and give everybody advance notice. My intuition is that this will not be the only testimony like this that we will receive today. So I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to leave the room or to tune off of the broadcast, and I'll tell you when we're going to come back. So we'll take a break at the end of the public testimony, and we're going to come back at the top of the hour, exactly 11 o'clock.
Point of inquiry.
Member Perez, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, I got to take the point of inquiry.
Yeah, so along those same lines, would it be okay for someone to come read passages from the 1619 project each Friday?
Yes, insofar as it relates to Texas public schools, because that's what this body oversees.
Point of parliamentary inquiry. Could
Member
we have
Childs.
the legal or the parliamentarian weigh in on a motion to censure and whether it's appropriate at this time?
Censure who?
Her derogatory comments that she warned us about.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is CJ Caven. I'm your substitute parliamentarian for today, and I'm happy to be here during point of order on the First Amendment. Thank you.
It's a nice first day, huh?
Absolutely. I also wasn't told it was charter school week, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the recognition. A motion to censure would not order right now because we're in public comment, and that is very definitively a board statement. And so that wouldn't be on the agenda, and we'd probably be violating not only our board procedure, but possibly be in violation of state law as well, because that's very definitely a public comment from the board. If the board wanted to take that up, that would probably be something to discuss at a future meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I might add that since it's not on the agenda, then we would start to skirt Texas Open Meetings Act. Member Perez Diaz.
Member Chair, I'm not sure how I don't know how to pose this right, but I'm trying to understand two things. Number one, why it's necessary for the shock value to do something like this. We've already heard it once this week. Number two, just want to acknowledge the hypocrisy. There are different ways to bring forward the concerns to this board. She's holding the book. She can stand the book up and tell us what pages to refer to as opposed to reading. It's not just my children, right? We have other children here that are
At this time, I suggest any minors or anyone who does not like to listen to pervasively vulgar language, please leave the room.
are standing in support of the charter schools. So I think it was said earlier that the individuals that are coming and reading this are committing the exact acts that they're purportedly standing against. So
At this time, I suggest any minors or anyone who does not like to listen to pervasively vulgar language, please leave the room.
wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Understood. However, back to my first comment around the First Amendment rights, also would encourage everybody to make sure we're not doing ad hominem attacks. Member Hickman.
Thank you. Point of parliamentary inquiry. What testimony is allowed and not allowed today? I understand it's not allowed for any agenda item. Would it be allowed for anything under the sun?
I think it's anything. So it would be anything's allowed that is not on the agenda for a posted item, but I would say also germane to what this board oversees. In this case, the board obviously had a role in HB 900.
But we don't place or not place any books in school libraries or classrooms.
The state board was required to give approval to the collection and disposal policy. I may have had the wording wrong. That then covers for school districts what they cannot have in their libraries.
Okay. And one further question for legal. Could this board impose content neutral restrictions that would prevent expletives in the boardroom?
But not in the school libraries?
I think at this point we're not prepared to give you a very good answer on that, because we would need to do research on the extent of First Amendment rights versus your ability to ensure decorum is present in your board hearings.
Yeah, I think it would be to open the rules in the future.
Yeah, that was the other point I was talking to legal about, is we would need to be posted to take up rules and then.
Right, yeah, I'm
post
asking,
additional
could we add something to the rules in the future? But to address the audience comment, we have no ability to address what books are in any library in any ISD in Texas.
To address all audience comments, I will remind everybody of the board, the no outburst. Thank you. Okay, at this point, we're going to recognize the public testimony. We're going to begin. I anticipate we'll be doing this public testimony, depending on how many more parliamentary things happen, but 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll take a break. So we'll be back at 11 o'clock, top of the hour, if you choose to tune away or need to exit the room.
Thank you very much for taking the time to flesh this out. I can go off script. I want to reiterate to you that I support and agree Bonnie Wallace's comments and recommendations for making it a legislative priority in
Point of
regards to
order.
House Bill 900.
I'm sorry, point of order. Do we have a quorum?
We barely have a quorum. We have 8.
Okay. I interrupted her. Can she restart her time, please? We almost lost the quorum when you left.
Yes.
Please start
We have
again.
quorum.
I interrupted you. Please start again.
Microphone, ma'am?
Sorry about that. I'm usually pretty loud. Any rate, the reason why I came up here and was reading from this book, but you have it there. It is throughout the books. I have audited using part of Take Back the Classroom, several school districts, and where there's 40 to 50 books that are even worse than what you're reading here, and what you can hear from at later times. They are in the libraries, the public school libraries available for students. Not only are there books, they are e-copies, they can download them, and then sometimes there's even videos. Reason that I'm bringing this up to you is I want to let you know that they're still there. House Bill 900, they're hiding behind the exemption law that says that these books are educationally suitable. They are educationally unsuitable, and they are pervasively vulgar. If you want to look at one of the examples that I will read, she congratulates him. This, you can tell, this is not germane. They keep saying, oh, 1 page, it's germane to the story. No, this, as you can tell from your handouts, it is peppered throughout the books, all the books. It starts with, by Saturday night, we had 3 times. Then he fed me before he. No one noticed when Jeremy's hand slid up my thigh and disappeared between my legs. You can see it continues on and on. This is what you have. I congratulated him with a blowjob. This is in our Texas school public libraries, and we need to stop it. Thank you for your time.
My name is Michelle Allen, and I'm from Midland, Texas. I'm a retired teacher of 33 years. I support everything that Bonnie is suggesting that you do. We're working on the books in our own city, public library, and schools to do something about these pervasively pornographic books. I'm going to read from Tricks by Ellen Hopkins. Aside from the sexual content that's in there, I'm going to skip to page 53. Too much booze, too many smokes, way too many pills, speed, downers, everything in between. Page 151. Vince and I have shared a bottle or two, a fistful of doobs, pipes, and pipes. Tonight we'll pass around all 3 at his regular Friday poker game. Suppose it could be because I'm usually the one supplying the weed. Booze isn't his only bad habit, though. Pot, pills, crack, and probably other stuff. Page 156. I have to be careful not to let my own toking get out of hand. I swear I've never had a clue she had so many friends with the pipe. Best things about it is what a little horn dog she turns into when she's smoking. Boo, friggin' yeah, whatever I want. Page 161. The game hasn't started yet. 4 or 5 guys are drinking, smoking, snorting, something off of the top, a glass top tabletop. Page 206. We've done coke before, right? No, oh baby, you're gonna love it. You're gonna fly. Don't worry, you're safe flying with me. I watched Lucas suck 2 long, sparkly yellowish lines up his nose, and then he stands the picture to me. And then it goes, not too hard or you'll squeeze. I inhaled gently, 1 line on the right nostril, 1 up the left. Immediately, both sides of my nose go cold and numb. Now, just like that, my heart is racing. Oh my God, no wonder people like this drug. And that's just 5 pages out of this book. And Ellen Hopkins' books are everywhere. Thank you. I'm Alma Thompson from Midland, Texas,
and I also agree with the suggestions Bonnie Wallace has made. I was here to read Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews. It is in the Llano ISD and the following: Alamo Heights, Deer Park, Dickinson, East Central, Galena, Hardendale, Houston, Humble, Little, Northside, Pasadena, Sherryland, Mission, McAllen, San Antonio, currently on hold in Midland ISD and Odessa ISD by the librarians. I also did not want to read this any more than you wanted to hear it. So I would just like to say that I did check the movie out, and they made it a PG-13 by only using the words on page 72 and 73 about having sex with a pillow and habitually masturbating. I do wish that we could label books also. I know that that has been turned down. I thank you for looking at this and addressing this subject. As a parent, grandparent, reader, child advocate, there's no reason for these books to be in our educational system. Thank you so much.
Good morning, members. My name is Brady Gray. I'm the president of an organization called Texas Family Project. I spend a significant amount of my time protecting kids and trying to protect kids from obscenity. As we've already heard here today, there is a significant amount of it in our public schools. The truth is that this board had the correct response to what they were going to hear. They had the correct response to the words that are in front of me in a book report for a book called Dead End by a man named Jason Meyer. This talks about sex. It uses profane language. It talks about illicit drug use. And all of these things sit currently on the school shelves in Deer Park ISD, in Dickinson ISD, and in Southwest ISD. They're currently on the shelves. Now, I know we heard a lot earlier from a lot of teachers, really, really good teachers who got awards here today. I don't think that this is the kind of thing that they went into the teaching profession to present to kids and to have to worry about when they walk in. We heard from Dr. Kuna, who talked about how when kids come into his classroom, he doesn't know what they're dealing with emotionally, socially, what their life is like at home, spiritually. But what we can be sure of is that they can walk into a library in one of these ISDs today and they can pick up this book. And then Dr. Kuna can have a whole nother mess on his hands when he has to talk to them about the contents of these books that are in our public schools. HB 900 was mentioned a few minutes ago. As I'm sure this board is well aware, that bill, although I do believe the author had the right intent, is useless currently. The enforcement of that bill has been stripped, and it currently is doing nothing to stop these books in our public schools. And so I would urge you, as Ms. Wallace did earlier, to when you make your legislative priorities going into this 89th session, that you make sure that on your priorities is repealing the affirmative defenses in section 43.24 of the Texas Penal Code, and that you make sure that we are doing something to change the current Miller test. You have hanging on your wall right over here, the State Board of Education is working for Texas children and building our future. So I'd ask you to please, as you make those priorities, do that. Work for Texas children and build a future that we can be proud of. Thank you.
My name is Pastor Richard Vega. I've been traveling around all over the state of Texas. I've met with, 20, 30 different school boards, superintendents, presidents of the wards, and these books that have been allowed across the state are clearly a major issue. Our team has been able to discover in the districts across Texas no less than 400 of these books. HB 900, great bill, some issues in there, but it's got to be enforced. You guys didn't want to hear what was going to be read earlier, which I understand, and trust me, the readers don't want to read it. That's the truth. But the reality of it is, it's just not pornography. It's extreme racism. In fact, the book that I was going to read here today particularly targets Mexicans and blacks. And let's just be real. It doesn't use any nice words. It targets our communities. There's more books like Push. Out of Darkness, Verity, all of these books that are allowed in our public school system that target racism, sexual abuse. There's a book out there that talks about a young girl getting raped by her dad and having a baby by 12 and then another one at 14 years old. How is this educationally suitable? We shouldn't even had HB 900. In fact, the Pico case in 1982 by the United States Supreme Court clearly tells us that anything pervasively vulgar or anything that is educationally unsuitable, it shouldn't be allowed in the schools, and sexually explicit. So the reality of it is we need your help to be able to work in this next session, to be able to go in there and start putting these loopholes that are in there to be able to fix them so we can protect our communities, because it doesn't belong, guys. You guys know that. We know that. We shouldn't even be addressing this issue. But the reality of it is we need your help, and we need to be able to help change our communities for positive things. These books are not positive at all. Thank you.
Okay, members, that's the end of those who were signed up to speak. We have 2 late registrants. The typical practice of this board is to allow them to testify, but I'll allow anyone to object to that at this time, if you so choose. Without objection, please call it to.
Good morning, State Board of Education. My name is Pastor Luis Cabrera, and I've been going around school boards in South Texas because as a man of God, as a parent, as a community leader, I cannot stay silent on what's going on in our schools. And I'm making sure to wake up all the churches in South Texas and all over Texas to get involved in our kids' education. I never knew that I have to come here to Austin or any school board to talk about these books. I mean, it's appalling to me. Even this book, Triangles, like just reading the material, it's disgusting. And how can we as adults sit here and not do anything about this? And that bill it's not helping us. So we're asking for you guys to help us to enforce this, because out of probably the 12 or 13 ISDs in South Texas that I've spoken to, 7 of them are working with us to start removing these evil and wicked books. Now, there's some school boards that are fighting us. I mean, we're not talking about, some history books that don't belong there. We're talking about pornographic, racist books that don't belong in our kids' schools. And there's one ISD that I want to speak about that removed some of these books, but the librarian in that school district kept some of those books in her personal office so kids can still read them. How do we get here as a society? And as a man of God, I cannot sit silent on this issue. We got to protect our kids, and these books aren't helping. We have to go back to the ABCs and not the LGBTQ, whatever you want to call it. I'm tired of this. We got to fight for our children. Exactly right. Working for Texas children, building a future. We're building perverts here. And it's time for us to be aware of what's going on and to do something about this. And please help us. God bless you.